Right.
This is where I encourage everybody who spends time with me to be more ruthless and stop putting your feelings where your bank account should be.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, 100%.
welcome back to enVisioning Success. I'm Laura DiBenedetto, joined by Julia Becker-Collins. Thank you for being here. We love you. So this is going to be a great episode. We're talking about how ugly sometimes gets the job done better than pretty, which
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, I struggled with at the beginning of my career like you wouldn't believe. I'd be like, no, it needs to look good. Numbers don't lie. It actually doesn't. It needs to be functional. Pretty is a bonus. And yeah, so before we dive into this, just a loving reminder, if you haven't liked and rated the show, bing, bing, here's your reminder. Please do that. We would really, really appreciate that because it helps other folks benefit from this free information that you get to receive. And we love having you here. So just also a thank you for being our listener. You can always go to our website, vision-advertising.com, if you'd like a free marketing assessment just to help you figure out which end is up and what you're doing right and where you could potentially stop wasting money. Just hit us up and you can always let us know what kind of topics you'd love for us to dive into for you. So without further ado, this is all about ugly and specifically funnels. So here's your main point right now. Over-designed websites and funnels, they actually are killing conversations. This is not information I ever wanted years ago. I fought this tooth and nail, but it's true. And a lot of times when your branding agency is polishing fonts and stuff like that, spending a ton of money on it, the guy with the basic landing page and a clear offer is the one laughing all the way to the bank. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to be right or do you want to be rich?
This is like when we have conversations with clients about their websites and they want it to be 100% or 150% perfect before launch. And I have to have a real serious conversation about it absolutely does not need to be perfect. The sooner you get it out there, the better, because organic SEO takes a long time to work. And I know we've talked about that previously.
Mm-hmm.
2B, whatever. If you have it live and you're making changes, that's actually better for the algorithm. It's better for your SEO because you're updating it.
Yeah.
3, websites should be living organisms. This isn't a digital brochure. You want it to be updated and changed. So it will never actually be perfect. You want it to be good and functional, like you said, and work and have all of the kind of QA sections knocked around, but it can always be updated. It can always be changed.
Yes.
It's same with anything else, social media, logo, etc. As long as you have the capacity to make the sale and the operations ability to fulfill the sale, you should be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
I'm making this face because you're saying the thing that I have been saying for almost all 25 years. And listen, I appreciate so deeply when things are perfect, but it's rare. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we launched our own new and very sexy website, it was not perfect and it was not done. And that is fine. Because guess what? Nobody cares. And here's the novel information that you might not be realizing. Nobody knows what the perfect vision that you had in your head was. So
Right.
they have nothing to compare it to. As far as they know, that's what it is.
Right.
And chances are they don't know how to buy from you, so they wouldn't know if anything was missing anyway.
Well, and the other part of that, and I don't want to get too down the rabbit hole, but you don't want everything on your website. You shouldn't be giving them everything on your website. It
Yep.
is a taste and a amuse-bouche, if you will, of
Wow.
right, and amuse-bouche of what you offer, just to get them to create whatever action you need them to create, buy the thing, submit the form, schedule the meeting, etc. But you're not giving the cow away with the milk. You want them just interested enough. And oftentimes what people think the website should have or their social media or whatever is everything. And it shouldn't. And I've said this 1,000 times to people, but for some reason, people don't want to listen.
Mm. Well, I think people are afraid of what they don't understand.
Oh, 100%.
So people tend
Absolutely.
to err on the side of caution, not realizing that the caution you should err on the side of is showing up early and imperfect versus late and perfect.
Right. I was actually
So,
thinking about this the other day, and this is, related, but I have a podcast I listen to. It's, a murder podcast. I love true crime. If you know me, you get it. But they're a top 10, probably a top 5 podcast for the whole time they've been around, but they have been doing this for 9 years. And if you listen to the old episodes, they are terrible. But it's like they didn't wait to get good. They
right.
just started and then had 9 years to build it up. And now it's a saturated marketplace, but they're at the top of it because they've been doing it for so long.
Mm-hmm. Probably the same is true of this show. I mean,
Right.
this episode is episode 78.
Yep.
I can tell you it's markedly better than episode 1, but it's going to be a piece of crap compared to episode 778.
Right.
It's okay.
Right. I had the same conversation with somebody else that owns an agency that was trying to start their own podcast. And I was like, you're taking it too seriously.
Yeah,
Just
you and
record.
your 4 listeners, you, your mom, and your kids, like, they don't care. Just ship it. Later on, you'll figure it out and you'll get it
Right.
right. And then you'll figure, ooh, this doesn't work. But, like, how do you learn how to do hard things? By doing hard things.
Correct. Correct. Which
So,
actually speaks to the previous episode. If you haven't listened to that,
yep.
about knowing what's good and having the experience before you rely on AI.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well,
Dovetailing.
I know. We do love a good dovetail. So, first thought here is number 1, clarity beats aesthetic. A clear headline with a compelling call to action, it will outperform flashy design. When you have a clear headline and a compelling call to action and you have flashy design, that's obviously cool, but a lot of people are not going to have that. I would argue most people are not going to have that. Why? Because odds are for companies under $1 million in gross revenue, your odds of having an incredible designer and an incredible writer in the same boat are pretty low unless you work with an agency like ours.
Mm-hmm.
So something to think about. Like, just focus on the copy because that's what converts. Furthermore, pretty design and things being aesthetically pleasing, it doesn't convert. Like, oh, that glass of wine, oh, it looks good, but you can't drink it. What?
I
Like,
will say that sometimes, so as a consumer, sometimes over designed things and over pretty things are actually so distracting that I move on and I'm not interested in it
well, that's
because
where Steve Jobs got it right.
right.
He under-designed everything. I mean, he went so far into over design to specifically under design things to make them so simple. I mean,
Yep.
like, I listened to his book. Walter Matheson wrote it. It was really good. And it was, a story of a crazy person who was obsessed with making things simple for people. And that's why ultimately it was successful and people love the Apple stuff. I have an iPhone, I have this. And how many people in this audience keep their iPhone boxes?
Oh, that's very, no.
I
No.
see you,
Throwing things
Devin.
out is my love language. I want to throw everything out.
No, I know.
So,
Well, it's a thing though. Like, not everybody has the crazy or the commitment or the budget to
correct.
be Steve Jobs. So if you can't be Steve Jobs, and there was only one of him, your odds are much better if you focus on just having a very clear headline that your prospect can be like, oh, okay. And they're drawn to with a call to action that they take action on, even if it's completely hideous. If it's ugly but converts, that's what you need to know because to me, a beautiful bank statement is one with lots and lots of digits.
Right. Right. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is speed matters and not like the movie from the 90s, even though classic Sandra Bullock movie.
It's a good one.
This is more about how quickly do your pages load. Simple pages on a website load faster and work better across devices, whether it's desktop or phone or tablet.
Yep.
The more complicated you make it with videos and pop-ups and whatever, that's going to load slower. It just is. It's a fact. You
Even
can only
large
make it so
images.
fast. So you the simpler it is, the easier it is to get the person to do the thing you want them to do. Your website is a tool. It is not the thing you're trying to sell. It is a sales tool. It is a marketing tool to get the person to do something, buy the jeans, schedule the meeting, fill out the form, whatever it is that you're trying to get them to
Right.
do. And people have an attention span shorter than a goldfish. A goldfish has a 7-second attention span. Humans have a 6-second attention span. So if your website takes 4 seconds to load, you have lost them completely.
Mm. Wow, we're worse than goldfish.
Yeah.
This does not bode well for humanity.
No, it's one of my favorite statistics. And it always like really hits home.
Yeah, I would say. Well, you know, think about it. Like, how many times have you been to a website, it loads slowly, and you're just like,
Mhm.
screw it, and you'll buy from somebody else? Because
Exactly.
the horrific inconvenience of waiting 2.5 seconds is unbearable.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah.
we have been programmed by other people who have their shit together, who have their websites load quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We've been programmed by them to not wait.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we going to wait for you, especially if you're not as popular as Amazon or Walmart?
Right. It's, I mean, especially like you can use an example of Facebook, one of the most popular websites in the whole world. If it takes too long to load, everyone knows the site is down. And so
Mhm.
it should be instant. And if it's not, then there's a problem. And so
Yep.
people have been programmed to realize that if it takes too long, it's not going to work.
Yeah, that's very true. And you're not making sales if people are leaving because of impatience.
Exactly.
So that's not good.
Exactly.
Point 3 is test before you beautify. Test it. The whole thing that I led with having a clear headline with a compelling call to action. Now I'm talking about copy in your story or however you're actually converting. Like, work on converting and making sure that the words matter. And I think it's a book or whatever, Death by PowerPoint. Don't death by website either. Like, sometimes less is more. Go to our
Mhm.
website, vision-advertising.com. Go check it out. Our website is not this big, huge monolith beast. It's just not. Our website is
Right.
lean, it loads fast, and our pages are actually pretty concise on purpose. Our blog is comprehensive, and that's designed to be. And we wrote all the copy, and we know exactly what converts, which is why our website is the way it is. So we proved that it converts, then we made it pretty. So we did
Correct.
those things in that order, and you can do the same thing. So again, test before you beautify.
And then the other part of that is, we talked about this episode, last episode, we've talked about it previously with this new website that we launched. We have made changes since we launched it. It didn't need to be perfect when we launched it. And we've changed photos. We've looked at things. We look at the data and say what's working, what's not. And then we move things around.
Mm-hmm. It's just that simple. Good
Exactly.
metaphor.
Number 4. One page, one job. So this is obviously about your website. Keep your landing pages, which are specific topic pages that you're sending marketing over to. So if you have Google Ads and you're talking about snow removal services, it should be linked to a landing page specific about snow removal. It shouldn't be going to the homepage of your website. So you want to keep those landing pages laser focused. Eye on the prize, if you will. Don't distract with a million links. Again, keep it simple, stupid. You want that landing page to really speak to whatever ad has led them there and only give them the information that they need. Again, they don't need all of the information. They need an amuse-bouche of the information.
Another pro tip for you with landing pages, the most effective landing pages strip out all navigation, all headers, all footers. It is entirely devoted to one thing to the point where it excludes the stuff that most pages will include. There's no navigation. There's no copyright information. There's no links to get anywhere. Like, the only way you're getting anywhere on that page is if you do the thing or you close it out of your browser. That's it. Those are the types that actually convert the best.
Yes, it's laser focused. I'm just going to keep saying it. Laser focused. Exactly. The robots with the lasers. They're coming to get us.
Pew pew. All right.
Pew!
So the last point here is to track conversions, not compliments. Data, not opinions, decide what is working and what doesn't.
Mhm.
I'll give you a great example. Social media, for example, LinkedIn. I post a lot on LinkedIn. It's where I've got the largest audience. I think I've got almost like 26,000 followers over there. That's pretty cool. And some things convert and some things don't. Some things go viral ish and some things don't. And you can't assume that something goes viral ish and it converts. Viral
Correct.
doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to convert. It's great if it does, but I have had some of my least popular posts convert much better than the ones that took off for the moon. And the reason for that is because they tend to be more curated, I guess. They're more specific. They're not as popular, but it really speaks to a very like niche issue, and people really like that. So, if you take a look at my content on there, and I would encourage you to do that, follow me, be my friend on there, whatever, weigh in. People will see your stuff if you engage on my content. But you'll see that I have lots of content with really wildly different metrics. I'm
Yeah.
not interested in likes. I'm not interested in comments. They help. They're nice. And reactions or reposts, rather, those are really great too. But the thing that I'm most interested in is the one thing that it doesn't show you in the initial insights. It's people in my inbox
Mhm.
or times that they click on the link that I included. I use Bitly, it's bit.ly, to track every time people click through. So I posted something recently where I think it had like 25,000 people saw it. Didn't
Mhm.
really have like a overwhelming numbers on there of comments and likes, but it had something like 43 click-throughs. It's kind of a
Yep.
lot.
Right. I was just looking at the data for our website and our social media, and we have lots of great engagement, but the ones that have the click throughs are not always the ones that have the high engagement. I will be the first to say engagement is incredibly important on social media. Engagement breeds engagement. You can go back to one of our previous episodes where we talk
Mhm.
about that. But that engagement doesn't pay your mortgage. That engagement is a tool to help fill the funnel. It is
Right.
very high in the funnel. You, engagement breeds engagement, which means people find you, which means people follow you, which means eventually further down, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see I'm making the hand motions that I love. Eventually further down the funnel, somebody converts. But oftentimes people think that I'm going to go viral and make $1 million. And those are related, but they do not cause each other. So that's one of the big
That's a
things that people
tough
don't realize.
reality for a lot of people to contend with. Even like, oh my God, I was speaking to somebody recently and they're like, oh, well, we're just going to use a bunch of influencers to get our product out there. I'm like, cool. I hope you have a lot of time and I hope you have a lot of money because the
Right.
influencers are not cheap. And it still takes on average about 40 times for your product or service to be seen.
Yeah.
And that person might not even share if you're not paying them enough 40 times in a 2-year span.
Right.
So, can you afford to be spending $1,000 a month on XY influencer times 10 influencers for a big fat maybe?
Right.
I don't think so. Those are compliments. It's like, oh boy, we're so famous because, so and so is repping our stuff. So,
Right.
are you paying your bills with it?
Right.
This is where I encourage everybody who spends time with me to be more ruthless and stop putting your feelings where your bank account should be.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. 100%.
that's my
I
hot
mean,
take for the day. All right. On that lovely note, we're going to put a bow on this. Next episode, we're going to be talking about how there is a certain star that you need to pay attention to in your business. And the next episode, we're going to reveal that. So I hope that you will join us to learn about who the star really is and how to make them shine brightly. On that note, thank you for watching or listening wherever you are. Rate, review, subscribe, and please share with a friend. We'll see you in the next episode.